There are moments in life when you love someone so deeply that your heart begins to build a quiet future around them. You imagine peaceful mornings, simple conversations, and the comforting idea of having someone who understands you without needing many words. Everything feels possible as long as they are part of the picture. But sometimes the person you love is not meant to stay, no matter how warm your hope feels. Accepting that truth can shake you in ways you never expected. As if reality gently reminds you that love cannot grow where it is not welcomed. You might find yourself replaying every moment that made your feelings grow. A short message, a kind smile, a conversation that lingered in your mind long after it ended. You wonder if you misread something or wish too much from someone who never promised anything. Questions begin to fill your thoughts, and you start looking for reasons that might explain why the story ended before it even began. But love is not a problem you failed to solve. It is a sincere experience, and sincerity is never wasted. Even when the outcome is not what you hoped for, letting go is one of the most painful lessons the heart will ever learn. It asks you to release someone who brought light into your days without allowing bitterness to replace the affection you once felt. It asks you to trust that your worth remains untouched, even when someone you care about chooses another path. Slowly you begin to understand that holding on would hurt you more than letting go. Their journey moves in a direction that no longer aligns with yours, and accepting that truth becomes an act of strength instead of defeat. And even though the hurt stays for a while, something inside you begins to shift quietly. What once felt like an empty space starts to become room for healing. You begin to breathe with a little more ease, and you start remembering who you are outside of the feeling you held for them. Pain does not disappear in a single moment, but it shapes you in ways that make you stronger and more aware of your own heart. You eventually learn that love does not always mean having someone beside you. Sometimes love teaches you how to grow on your own, and that lesson stays long after the person is gone. Asterisk, asterisk. There comes a point when you start to understand that real love does not ask for anything in return. It does not beg, it does not force, and it does not demand to be recognized in the way you wish. Love simply exists as a quiet feeling inside your heart, and sometimes it grows in silence. You can care for someone deeply while knowing that their heart does not belong to you. And even in that truth, the love you feel remains sincere. It teaches you that affection can stand on its own without needing to be validated by another person. As time passes, you begin to see that love becomes lighter when you stop trying to control its direction. When you release expectations, the feeling becomes more honest and gentle. Instead of asking why things did not become something more, you start appreciating the moments that simply allowed you to feel. You start realizing that the beauty of love is not measured by how tightly you hold someone, but by how gracefully you let the connection flow without pressure. This is where love becomes real and not just a desire to be fulfilled. Loving without demanding also begins to change the way you see yourself. You start understanding that your heart is capable of giving without losing its dignity. You learn that you do not need someone to love you back in order for your feelings to matter. This shifts something within you. It softens you in a way that is strong, not weak. It makes you appreciate the depth of your own heart, because you discover that you are able to care without needing ownership. And that realization brings a quiet confidence that stays. Eventually you begin to understand that love can remain pure, even when it does not become a relationship. The fact that your feelings did not turn into a shared journey does not make them meaningless. It simply means the purpose of this love was different. It came to teach you gentleness, sincerity, and emotional maturity. And one day, when you look back, you will see that this kind of love shaped you in a beautiful way. It taught you that the heart does not need to possess someone in order to feel deeply. Sometimes love is simply meant to be felt, not held. Asterisk, asterisk. There comes a moment when you can no longer hide from the truth that stands quietly in front of you. You may have hoped for a different ending, wished for a chance, or imagined a future where your feelings were met with the same warmth you offered. But reality has a way of revealing what the heart sometimes refuses to see. Not every love is meant to be returned, and not every connection is meant to grow into something more. Accepting this truth is painful, but it is also the first step toward reclaiming your inner strength. At first, acceptance feels like defeat. You might feel like you were not enough, or that something about you fell short. You may search for faults in yourself, thinking that if you had been a little better or a little more, things would have turned out differently. But slowly you realize that love is not a prize you win by being perfect. It is a meeting of two hearts that choose each other freely. If someone does not choose you, it is not a reflection of your worth. It is simply a sign that your paths were never meant to align in the way you hoped. As this understanding settles, something begins to shift inside you. The sadness is still there, but it no longer controls you. You start to see that freeing yourself from false hope is an act of courage. You begin to appreciate your ability to feel deeply, even when the feelings are not returned. Acceptance does not erase the love you felt. It transforms it. It turns the pain into wisdom and the longing into clarity. Through this process, you begin to stand taller, not because the hurt has vanished, but because you are no longer running from it. Eventually, you discover a quiet peace that comes from finally facing the truth. You stop chasing what is not meant for you and start opening your heart to what might come. You begin to understand that your journey does not end with someone's absence. In fact, it is often in moments like this that you find the strength you did not know you had. Acceptance becomes a reminder that your story is still unfolding, and that someday you will meet someone who chooses you without hesitation. Until then, you walk forward with grace, knowing that accepting reality was not a loss. It was a step toward becoming stronger. Healing begins quietly, often in moments when you are simply trying to get through the day. At first, everything feels heavy. The memories, the hopes you once carried, the silent expectations that slowly faded away. Your heart still reaches out for someone who is no longer part of your future, and the absence feels sharp. But little by little, you begin to understand that healing is not about forgetting. It is about learning to breathe again without depending on what you once held so tightly. As days pass, you begin to reclaim parts of yourself that you placed on pause while you hoped for something that was never meant to grow. You start remembering the things that once made you feel alive. You rediscover your own voice, your own dreams, your own rhythm. It may feel unfamiliar at first, as if you are meeting yourself again after a long time apart. But this rediscovery becomes a reminder that your identity was never tied to one person. You were whole long before they entered your life, and you remain whole even after they leave. Slowly, attachment loses its grip. You start to see that letting go was not abandonment of your feelings, but an act of compassion toward yourself. You no longer try to force your heart into places where it does not belong. You stop waiting for someone to return affection that was never truly yours to expect. With each step, healing shifts from something painful into something empowering. You begin to appreciate your resilience and the way you keep moving. Even when the journey feels uncertain. Eventually, a sense of calm begins to replace the ache. It does not arrive suddenly, but in gentle waves that touch your heart when you least expect it. You notice that you can think about the past without feeling broken. You notice that you can smile again without guilt. Healing teaches you that losing someone you cared for deeply does not mean losing the capacity to love. It simply means you are learning to love yourself first. And when that happens, you realize that moving beyond attachment is not the end of love. It is the beginning of a stronger, wiser, and freer version of you. There comes a moment in your healing when you begin to look inward instead of outward. You start asking yourself what you truly need, not what you once wished someone else would give you. At first, this feels unfamiliar because for a long time your heart leaned toward a person who unknowingly shaped your hopes and expectations. But now, as you stand on your own, you begin to understand that your needs are deeper than being chosen by someone. You need peace. You need clarity. You need a love that meets you with the same sincerity you offer so naturally. As you reflect, you realize that the love you imagined with them was built more on longing than on reality. It was a picture your heart painted with the colors of hope, even though their actions never matched the closeness you dreamed of. This realization is not meant to hurt you. It is meant to free you. You start to see that what you need is not someone who warms your heart only in imagination, but someone who shows up in the real world. Someone who cares without being pushed. Someone who chooses you without hesitation. This understanding slowly shifts the way you value yourself. You start recognizing the importance of emotional balance. You begin setting gentle boundaries, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop waiting and start growing. Your heart becomes more discerning. You begin to see that your needs are not burdens. They are invitations to build a life where your feelings are acknowledged. Your presence is valued, and your love is received with the same depth you give. In time, redefining what you truly need becomes a powerful transformation. You no longer settle for almost or almost enough. You no longer confuse intensity with compatibility or longing with love. You begin to understand that the right person will not make you question your worth or leave you wondering where you stand. And when that understanding settles into your heart, you feel lighter. You feel steadier. You feel ready. Because now you are not just waiting for love. You are preparing yourself to receive something real, something healthy, something that matches the depth of your own heart. Asterisk, asterisk. There is a quiet moment that arrives after the storm in your heart begins to settle. It is not dramatic or loud. It comes softly, sometimes in the middle of an ordinary day, when you realize that the pain that once felt unbearable no longer controls you. You notice that you can breathe deeply again. You can think clearly. You can look back without breaking. In that moment, you understand that letting go was not the end of your story. It was the beginning of finding your way back to yourself. As you continue forward, you start seeing the strength that was slowly growing inside you all along. You survived the ache of unreturned feelings. You faced the truth without running. You learned to accept what was beyond your control. These experiences, though painful, shaped you into someone more resilient and more aware. You begin to recognize your own courage. The kind of courage that grows quietly in the background. The kind that teaches you to rise again, even when your heart felt tired. You finally see that you are stronger than you ever thought. With time, your heart opens again in a different way. Not with the same longing, but with a new sense of clarity. You no longer search for love to complete you because you have become more whole on your own. You understand that real love is not about possession. It is about connection, respect, and mutual choice. And when someone new eventually enters your life, you will not cling or chase. You will meet them with steadiness, not desperation. You will love with awareness, not fear. You will give from abundance, not emptiness. In the end, you realize that losing someone you once cared for deeply guided you toward a stronger, wiser version of yourself. You no longer see the experience as a failure, but as a turning point. It taught you how to value your own heart and how to build your life from a place of self-respect. Letting go did not weaken you. It led you home to your own strength. And now as you move forward, you carry a quiet truth within you. Love does not always mean having someone. Sometimes love means learning, growing, healing, and discovering the person you were meant to become. Asterisk, asterisk, healing rarely arrives in big, dramatic ways. Most of the time it comes quietly, like a soft knock on the door of your heart. You may not notice it at first, because you are still familiar with the weight of sadness. But slowly, tiny shifts begin to appear. One morning you wake up and realize your chest feels a little lighter. A memory passes through your mind and, for the first time, it does not sting the way it used to. These small moments may seem insignificant, but they are gentle proof that your heart is beginning to mend. As days move forward, you start recognizing more of these subtle changes. You find yourself laughing again, even if just for a moment. You begin to enjoy things you once lost interest in while you were holding on to someone who never truly chose you. You start noticing the beauty in simple things, like quiet afternoons or the calm of being alone without feeling lonely. These are signs that your heart is slowly returning to itself. They are reminders that healing does not always arrive with grand declarations. Sometimes it comes as a small breath of relief you did not expect. With each tiny sign of progress, you begin trusting yourself again. You start believing that you can build a life that is gentle, steady, and fulfilling. The grip of the past becomes softer, and you no longer find yourself waiting for a message that will never come or a moment that will never return. Instead, you begin showing up for your own life. You start caring for your emotional world with more understanding. You begin to appreciate how far you have come, even if the journey still feels slow. These little victories matter, and they slowly shape you into someone who rises with quiet strength. Eventually, you realize that healing is not about erasing the past, but about transforming your relationship with it. You can remember without breaking. You can feel without falling apart. You can look at the story and see growth instead of